There is so much suffering and awfulness and yuckiness out there in the world, and I bet you've asked yourself a couple times, God, is it okay for me to feel bad, or is it okay for me to struggle when I know there are people who have it way worse than I do? If you've ever asked yourself that question, today you are going to get that answer from me, so stick around. Hey y'all, welcome back. So grateful that you are here today with me. If you are new here and don't know me, my name is Dr. Allison and I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, and I've made it my life mission to simplify psychology to help you live a healthier and more meaningful life. And this week's video is actually inspired and prompted by a question that I had from a viewer who asked about, am I allowed to struggle in my life, or is it okay for me to feel bad when I know that other people have it way worse? And that is true. Other people do have it way worse, right? There are people dealing with grief and loss, terminal health diagnoses. There are people fleeing their home countries. There are people who don't know where their next meal is going to come from. And there is social injustice, it feels like, everywhere we look. And it's easy sometimes when we think about all of that to think, my day-to-day stuff, or this little thing in comparison can't possibly matter. Like it's not okay for me to feel all the emotions. And I just want to say, it is okay. It is absolutely okay, but it's also necessary for you to allow yourself to feel your emotions, no matter how silly or small they might seem. So if you are anxious or worried or angry or resentful about something in your life, your emotions are valid and they matter. That's it. They matter, and it doesn't matter what else is going on. They still deserve attention. Now, that being said, I will say that I think it's important for us as humans to keep some sort of perspective, right? To remember those people out there who are struggling, and to think about sometimes our struggle not as a way to compare our struggle, but just to keep it in perspective. I almost think of this as like the bumpers that come up if you do bumper bowling, right? You still got a lot of freedom to go down that lane and feel whatever you're feeling, but sometimes we get a little bit too far in our experience, or we get a little too entrenched in our emotions, and we need a gentle reminder about perspective. So I can think of an example with this. Years ago, I had to get my blood drawn for a physical, and I'm going to be totally honest, y'all, I am a wimp when it comes to pain. I have no pain tolerance, and I get very anxious about anything that might cause pain. So for about 3 days before getting my blood drawn, I got all anxious, I was getting all worked up, I was using all my coping skills just to have this blood drawn. And as I was driving to the doctor's office that morning and I was thinking about it, I had this moment, right, where I was like, okay, Allison, I thought about all the people who were going through incredible health challenges. At the time, I actually had a very dear friend that was going through chemo, and I had been with her at a session, and I had saw just the intense pain that she and the other people had to endure. And there was a moment where I was like, okay, Allison, you are anxious and scared and dreading this pain, and this could be a lot worse. People have a lot more on their plate. So let's just try to put this in perspective. This is difficult, and you'll get through this. Right, so you can hear, I didn't minimize or discount my emotions, but there is a gentle challenge when my emotions start to sort of balloon and spiral and I sort of lose perspective, that sometimes thinking about other people and having that empathy can just be kind of a nice checks and balances. But we never want to do that in a way that says, oh my God, other people have it way worse, so quit your complaining. That is not what we are talking about. I also want you to remember or think about that if that person who has it worse than you, and you can get that image or that like whoever you're thinking of, if they were sitting next to you, I bet you would help them. I bet you would do whatever you could to support them and to encourage them and to help them hold their struggle. So yes, someone has it worse than you, but I bet if they were next to you, you would help them out. So remember, someone else's pain doesn't diminish or minimize yours. Yours is still important. If you are anxious about losing your job, that's valid. That's okay. If you are feeling unsettled in your relationship, or you are struggling to feel connected and you're starting to feel a little bit resentful about it, notice those feelings. If you are struggling with infertility, but you realize like, oh my gosh, like someone else is dealing with the loss of a child, both of those things matter, right? Our experience and our struggle, they're all valid and they all matter. Yes, I think we can all use a little bit dose of perspective, but I want you to remember it is always okay for you to feel whatever you're feeling. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this spoke directly to you today. If you want more good stuff like this and simplified psychology, whether it's thinking about relationships, anxiety, mindfulness, happiness, I have a ton on my website, Dr. Allison Answers, and you can check that out there and find lots of good stuff to help you live a healthier and more meaningful life. Have an amazing week. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.